What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 17 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Skarbrand the Exiled Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we continue getting nice battles, including a very nice and tough fight against Boris Ursus with Arbal, but also doing our admin to get the capacities and the stuff that we need and are missing, and by virtue of it, are currently in the process of recruiting some very nice units. Got our first Soul Grinder on field, and in fact, while Skarby does have two legendary lords to take out, I think we'll start with this thing, because I want to see that skull. I want to see that blood shrine and such, and also we need to react to this soon. These guys don't like each other. Why do you hate us now? It's just the treaties with Harbingers of Disaster and World Walkers. I fear you're gonna have to die, and frankly, so is everyone around you. But again, that's the nature of the limited. Allies. Anyway, let's jump on into this. I guess we'll have to cancel the Infernal Guard with Fireglaves. Although I am curious, what will the cost change? No, it's still 33. Okay, so it doesn't screw us over. So this will double check missions in case. Aha. All right, what do we have here? There we go. Kin Eater Skruck. And Kin Eater Skruck. And Kin Eater Skruck, I guess. Isn't it lovely? All right. Then we will take this off of you, and we'll, redo that later. For now, you will go into summoning stance, and then Bloodbound, you will reinforce. And I guess we'll just straight up attack. Go for it. Should be fun. Do we need to do anything else? I don't think so, but if we do, then it's too late to do anything about it now. Go. Maybe we should have put all the units in one army and just had you reinforced, but whatever, too late, I'm too lazy. And let's see, we do have lead belchers in their army, and obviously our army is severely limited. Let's see if our big boys can make up for the difference. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Obviously, we are horrifically outnumbered here, but just by virtue of the elite units that we have, even in small numbers, I'm gonna say I'm cautiously optimistic. Plus, the enemy army is in march stance, and it looks like we have a Chokepoint battle on top of it. That's definitely to our advantage. Anyway, our reinforcements make their way onto the battlefield. Soul Grinder, Incarnate Elemental of Beasts, and the Blood Shrine, while the Hellforged Bellowers begin firing at the enemy army. Gonna try to knock out those Noblar Flingers, rather, and while obviously they're not a super threatening unit, while we fight the Ogres, those Flingers will be constantly non-stop attacking our big boys, and over time, the damage even from the basically non-armor piercing missile fire will begin to tell. It's why Skaven Slaves are such an effective unit against super heavily armored units, and just giant piles of them will eventually dish out more damage. And just by virtue of the sheer weight of fire, especially for the cost. But anyway, the Hellforged Bellowers begin to fire, and we will take up position at the choke point. And, looks like the enemy's going to back off a little bit. Obviously, the Bellowers are an anti-infantry unit, so their damage to the regular Ogres is going to be pretty minimal. Especially the Iron Guts, but it's better than nothing. Ooh, and it looks like the enemy is beginning to fire back, knocking out a few of the Exalted Bloodletters with the... Was it the Hunter? Or was it the Thunder Tusk fire or something? I assume it was the Hunter on top of the Thunder Tusk chucking javelins our way. Alright, but it's time to meet the enemy charge. We don't want the enemy to charge directly into us and take advantage of that ogre charge. So, we will charge our single entities in first and actually back away our infantry when until the ogre charge fails. They can't use their mass to go through the infantry, and then move in to start cutting the enemy down. Alright, Incarnate Elemental Beasts looking pretty darn decent here. And we'll be pretty nice in Kuhar's army. Plus the sort of chest laser attack is, I don't know, kind of reddish and kind of works with our army as well. Anyway, you have Maim on you, don't you? Oh, actually you don't. It's surprising, I thought you had Maim on you. But I suppose it doesn't matter over much, because you'll Maim them regardless. I think I figured it had Maim because the sort of symbol for Maim is the same as the sort of reddish claw sort of after effect that you have on the Incarnate Elemental. Like we can... well, Alrighty, while the Incarnate Elemental will continue doing its work, the rest of our units are still holding the enemy off. Gorgon's going to start facing off against an enemy slave giant here, if it can get through the mass. Obviously, the annoying aspect of fighting giant piles of ogres like this is the fact that, every single one of their units will be blocking off ours. Our first Soul Grinder is in the fray, to be delivered to Skarbrand, well, pretty soon, I would wager, just because it's going to be a while until we can get a second capacity of these guys. Being tier 5 units, our growth just isn't fast enough to get where we want to go there. But it's all good. Ooh, I like those impacts on the Thunder Tusk, even though they're not useful here. The Hellforged Bellowers are actually firing at the Lead Belchers. And it looks like the Thunder Tusk is firing back at the Bellowers, which does make sense, as it probably has a difficult time targeting the Blob, at least while we're mixed in with the enemies. Alright, gonna continue the duel here. The enemy Slave Giant has lost 50% of its HP to the cost of 5 or 10% on the anti-large Gorgon, but the Blood Brute Behemoth should have no problem at defeating this big boy. And knocking out the occasional Ogre Bull I guess, comes into contact with. Anyway, the Lead Belchers are still firing, I believe, or are they out? I don't see them. Huh? We were firing at Lead Belchers, right? Or maybe we was firing at the Thunder Tusk. I don't know. We're firing at something in range. What's more important, though, is that the enemy is pretty much done. They have failed to break through our lines. The Thunder Tusk does remain, but I guess probably not for long. And just a few more enemy units knock out. Oh, there are the Lead Belchers. They just moved closer to us when we started routing in this direction for some reason. Or perhaps they went into Rampage, and that explained it. Alright, gonna give chase to at least some of the units. Our 2 Heralds have knocked out the enemy Lord. And we just got to chase down enemies to make sure that they don't rally in the same way that these guys do. Fortunately, our big boys, the 3 big boys, Soul Grinder, and Incarnate Elemental, and the Gorgon, or the Blood Brute Behemoth to be specific, will lead the charge. And since our Bloodletters, Exalted Bloodletters, can't chase, we'll allow them to join in. We should be knocking out that Thunder Tusken pretty quickly. Everybody's buffed up by the Blood Shrine. And again, we've seen the Blood Brute Behemoth obliterate a giant. I don't imagine a Thunder Tusk would survive for all that much longer. Anyway, with that, the Thunder Tusk shatters, and the battle is ours. Nice, unexpected little fight here, and surprisingly or not, we were able to defend the settlement, so we don't have to rebuild it. And we got a nice river of blood to add to. Alrighty, there we go. Our big old monsters did well. The Blood Brute Behemoth, obviously anti-large specialist, taking out many an Ogre Bull, and then dueling and annihilating the enemy Slave Giant. The Hellforged Bellowers always do well, because they're a very, very strong unit. Our Soul Grinder with 17k did pretty okay, and in fact, in damage Delta's gold value kept up, but the Incarnate Elemental Beasts, too bad we can only have one, took the most damage, but also dealt the most damage. Gotta appreciate that Incarnate Flock of Doom. Here we will, I guess, offer us tribute for the money, because we actually now need more cash than we did earlier. Alright, well done, you two. And Grell Carnalitas, you are supposed to evolve eventually. Alright, so you just stay as you are, buddy. Stay as you are. These guys fought well, the Exalted Bloodletters. I'm kind of disinclined to delete them now, so maybe we will, in fact, leave them and put them into an army. Now, we're supposed to be recruiting here. Blood Shrine of Khorne, please. We could build more. I mean, technically speaking, the Bloodletter army needs only 2 Blood Shrines. What it really needs is more Skull Cannons. And the Skull Cannons, we have... what's our capacity at? Let me just see here. 5 out of 3. Yeah, I know that we have 2 and 1 blood host here. You have 1, that's 3. You have 2, yeah. So until these guys are gone, we won't be able to do anything about it, so it is what it is. Alrighty, well, nice fight for you guys. Let us start moving everybody along. Skarby, not you, because you are about to fight. Tavi and Co, you're leeching from Skarby's XP, so that's also... as it is. Major Rager, you are supposed to go this way. I'm going to try to ignore Rostro here. Oh, you can reach Alchemist Forever Maze? I wasn't expecting that, but I'm pleasantly surprised. It is tier 4, and we may actually want to sack it for money. Ooh, this is a nice stack. Hey, very nice stack. Huh, alright, well, let's get a little bit in the way. Really? Huh. It's like 2 turns just to build a single ram? I mean, we could just tear through the gate. We very well could. Oh, let's give them a chance to sally out, I suppose. I'm surprised that it, we'll just give them a chance. Who knows, maybe there's a full stack of Kairos there. Anyway, Twisted Artifacts for obvious reasons. You have your, okay, you need to max out Thick Skin, especially against these guys. Let's get Renowned. Try to get to Esteemed Combatant for you, and I guess you need to do similar sort of things. You have Twisted Artifacts, Brass Collar is pretty nice in Esteemed Combatant. Actually, if they attack us, we'll probably get more value out of the Esteemed Combatant than the Brass Collar here, so we'll do that. Alrighty, then Exalted Heroes. You can get Retinue Trainer, Esteemed Combatant, and you can do the same. You have the same. Alright, then get Magic as weakness, because we are fighting the Tzeentchans after all. And then you can go for Brass Collar, as you don't need the other thing nearly as much. Lastly, Major Rager, you have Khorne's Chosen, Overwhelming Stampede, which are the only things that you need. What else do we want to do here? Harbingers of Death does nothing for this particular army. We could actually go all the way through to Renowned and Feared as you're not so point hungry. I mean, we could probably get Voice of the Dark Gods at the very least. Yeah, maybe this is a decent way to do it. We should have... I mean, we don't really care about your stats so much. Slaughter would be nice, but it isn't helpful against the Tzeentchans. Murder rather, would be nice for the extra 10% hit points, but again, it's not all that much. I feel like we'll get more mileage out of Sustained by Slaughter and Renowned and Feared since our money is dropping again and we're recruiting again. Alright, fine. Out of these, I'm going to say you're probably not intercepting anybody anytime soon, so let's go for Blood Feast into Unholy Resilience. Alrighty. And you stay there, buddy. You stay there. Alrighty, so who's up next? Grawl the Blood Harvester. And Eddie. Okay, you guys just stay where you are. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with you there yet. Arbal and Co. You guys are moving northward to burn down the last of the territories belonging to Boris. And... in theory... Oh, you're not quite at chosen levels yet. You are there. I feel like we should evolve you two together, though. And none of you are able to go to Knights as yet because you need rank 8. Though, funnily enough, if we really wanted to, we could evolve... We could evolve these two to... Well, one of them to Chaos Knights, because it's easier to become a Chaos Knight from a Chaos Warrior than it is from a Marauder Horseman, which kind of makes sense, other than the fact that you'd think that there would be some, well, a lot of mastery force-wise needed. But nonetheless. Anyway, Arbal, kill this real quick. And I'll resolve this even quicker. What do we have? Here we will go for the additional movement range. Alright, and how many turns of this do we have? Only 4! Oh well, we're gonna need to pick this up a lot more. And how about it looks like you can't reach the Burning Monolith, and I take it neither can Pav? Neither can Pav. Alrighty, well then you're gonna go here. Actually, you know what? Your rating probably isn't gonna be that useful. Let's go March Stance. Arbal, go to the edge of your range. And we'll raise the place. We'll need to hit the Howling Citadel in order to... Okay, you raid. We'll need to hit the Howling Citadel in order to, well, for these places to start self-colonizing. I am a little bit wary of these guys taking the territory. Not that I wouldn't mind fighting the Demon Prince, it's just that I really want this iron here, so I feel like we should make our way on down reasonably soon. Anyway, that was you guys. Bloodbound. Oh, you guys stay here for a bit. You know what? Transfer the troops. Like so. And then channel. There you go. Max yourself out, buddy. Who's next? Okay, that was Bloodbound. Gulgast. Alright, so... You are currently in range of Karak Krakatan, which I guess will go towards... The whole flayed rock situation is a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. Do we want to sack it or raise it? It does have tusks, which is great. Probably want to raise it, won't we? 12k, Valley of Horns 6k. I do need the money right now a little bit. A little bit more than the skulls, although that will start dropping very quick soon. Excuse me? You're gonna kill off the Exalted Hero of Khorne. I mean, I wouldn't mind fighting, but that's kind of obnoxious. Really? Is it because he's on the Gorby's chair? But you're on a Gorby's chariot now, too. Granted, you don't have any items, but we're kind of light on the items that we have extra of. Alright, I guess we're fighting this. Do you have points available? Let's get you some points, shall we? What do we have here? I'm gonna say murder is the most important one, and plus we gotta get the deadly onslaught. May as well get cleave. A little bit of extra melee attack. You, sir. Thick skin will give you a little bit more armor, make you a little bit tankier, and... Oh, we should get... Oh, yeah, 15. I could see why. That's got a hard to hit. Okay, so on the Gorby's chariots, Exalted Hero of Khorne basically have no melee defense. Do we have anything that will give you some? Glittering Scales is... well, I usually like to put these on Blood Speakers or Cultists, so not for you. The thing with melee defense, again, we don't have a lot of armor. The Gambler's armor goes on heroes. Frankly, the Bloody Shackle... Well, actually... Bloody Shackle may not be too bad of an option on the Gorebeast riding heroes. Huh. On the other hand, the extra ward save might be needed because they are more likely to be targeted by enemy range. Not that we have the extra talisman of endurance. Yeah, we don't have anything. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Let's do this little fight real quick then. Yes? Yes.
Requires slaughter, sacrifice, endless war. Let the world drown in blood.
Alrighty, here we go. Shouldn't be a difficult fight by any means, and by virtue of that, I think we're not going to bother doing anything fancy. No Vanguard deployment on the Khorne Gores. We'll keep them together with the best Gores, and even use our piles of Gorby's chariots to bolster the line. And sort of work together with the Khorne Gores. We will, however, still send Skylamp and Grimman, the Untamed Savagery, as well as the other Blood Beasts of Khorne around and see where they need to deploy themselves in order to, be of the greatest effect. Anyway, I'm just gonna take a little bit of time to get into position, since the enemy doesn't have a range unit, so we can take our sweet time and then start charging on in. And there we go. Khorne Gore and Bestigor alike charges on through, followed by the Gore Beast chariots, with one of our units of Khorne Gores actually peeling away over on the right flank, which is of some danger to it. You gotta be careful about this unit, as obviously it's now surrounded and fighting by itself against multiple units, and has already lost about 40% of its HP. Luckily for us, we are working our way through the enemy ranks fairly fast, so we can pop Relentless Rage on these guys and give them the Cannot Die, so that no more models are lost. While the rest of our units hack apart the enemy main line over on the center, essentially. Over on the left flank, we got a couple of our Blood Beasts playing with a couple of units of infantry and one unit of bats. Though obviously they are debuffed in the trees, while Skylick himself moves through the lines and goes after the enemy lord, and these two Blood Beasts will move to reinforce that one unit of Khorne Gores. Speaking of the damage unit of Khorne Gores, as soon as the Relentless Rage ended, we used the Exalted Hero to pop off the Tormentor Sword, keep these guys trapped where they are, and allowing us to get a nice charge in on those Blood Beasts. Lovely. And now it's just a matter of time as the enemy main line collapses. The enemy lord has now been caught by Skyla and is now down to about 40% of his HP, attempting desperately to escape. I'm going to watch the Blood Beast do a little bit of work here, though, because, well, we've seen Skyla fairly early in the campaign, since he was with Skarbrand earlier, and, of course, there's the fact that the Gore Beasts have a tendency to take more of the spotlight here than the Blood Beasts do. And not much to say, just running out the clock as the guerrillas pound down upon the poor skeleton spears that remain. The enemy lord falls to Skylion and Grim in the background, and with that, the battle is ours. Lovely. Alright, there we go. A little bit annoyed that the game made us fight that one, but at the end of the day, I love fighting undead, so it's only annoyance in principle, not so much in the fun. And anyway, we can sack it for 12k, or we can take the 4k skulls. Frankly, 4k skulls seems like it's worth more than the 12k. You know what? I think I'm actually gonna go skulls. I was going to sack, but yeah, go for the skulls. Skull it up, and then I want to see how far you can move past Karakraketon. Not very far at all. We may want to return to Flayed Rock, but then we'd have to return somewhere, and this thing has already rebuilt. Oh, actually, if we allow it to go upgrade to tier 4 by the time we get back, at least, that might be a decent option. Also, wait. This is Valley of Horns, and Goldtooth owns Karakazorn, so if we declare war on him, I mean, I suppose if we raise it, it won't matter much. Alright, fine. I go here for now. Yeah, the main problem is Golgast being the only one here. The other problem is if we leave Flayed Rock, then they just go for Shattered Stone Bay, and I don't like that. Nah, you know what? I think we have no choice. We're gonna return to Flayed Rock for now. And we gotta occupy it. No choice in the matter. Or at the very least, little choice in the matter. Re-raid. I mean, he was raiding before. And, oh, I mean, I guess if we're down here, we could take the quick little bit of time to knock out Kugath, because we were going to do so anyway. Also, you need to get back to recruiting stuff that you were recruiting earlier. So that was the Gorgon. And that's the 2 Gorgons that we need. Is there anything else from the Harbinger of Disaster that we want? I mean, I don't mind Cygors as some artillery pieces. I'm just not entirely sure in what army to put them yet. But they could certainly work. Especially in helping and making the enemy come to us. There's also the... the Chimeras, but at 42 allegiance, they're a little bit insanely expensive. I do like the Giant Feral Manticores as well, and if we do a flying army, I might... well, if we have time to do a flying army, I might take a few of them. There is also the Bulgors. If we do a Minotaur-heavy army, I feel like we should have some. Even though with buffs, I feel like the Bulgors will be inferior to our own Minotaurs of Khorne, it still feels like a thing to do. So you know what? Hold on to the allegiance for now, I guess. I'll think about it. Oh! Huh. Oh, wait, these are just Bearmen. I saw the unique line thing, and I guess it's just a capacity issue. Etten, not the... well... Oh, and we have the Norscan Giants. So the Norscan Giants are much, much better than the Beastmen Giants. Frankly, I might, if we eventually get enough allegiance with Wulfric, swap into some Norscan Giants for our northern army. Ice Trolls are always nice, but it's the armored skin wolves that we want, at least a couple of them. But we'll recruit them once we can recruit them both at the same time, so we'll need a little bit more allegiance, but not that much more. We also... okay, you know what, just start recruiting in front. Yeah. Alrighty, and then there's the Skullcrackers and Iron Demons, which would also work nicely, potentially, with our armies. Anyway, anything else we've got? Oh, wow, we still got a lot to do. Okay, fair enough. Let's see what we have here. If I try to... well, while I try to figure out who still needs to move. Alright, so Blood Harvesters. I guess you're going to the shore again. You did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, with you holding 2 skull cannons, you're going to have to be deleted soon. I really strongly feel that Blood Hosts need to be modified in order to not take your capacity. It's absolutely silly that they do. Not that we can do anything about it. Slaughtermasters, I like your rating. Truly I do. But...
this is absurd.
Go here and raid this. Might have to return you to the Caverns of Sotek. These guys will attack us since they declared war on us. You may or may not be able to attempt to defend it. You cannot go to the Altar Facades as yet because we're waiting for another army, so go and raid it. And then you will march stance, or wait, regular stance, we'll also put you into the Altar Facades. Good. And then all y'all will hit the altar. We'll probably just auto-resolve it, and then we will delete all 3 of you, just so A, I don't have you A, so we don't have you wasting your time traveling, and B, so that we can get rid of the capacities. We could also, in theory, just delete the skull cannons from all your army and not just completely delete you. Oh, and the blood shrines. Ugh. Anyway, you guys are good now. Next up, we still have Skarby to move, and Skarby's got a big fight ahead of him. We will leech with you to... No, okay. I'm just gonna make it difficult to select these guys. You go on to a Juggernaut instead. I don't, or Chaos Thief, whatever. I don't like the likelihood of you getting damaged. You can reinforce.
No rest,
Like so. Both of you can reinforce. Then, well, there's only room for one of you two to reinforce. Gruul, well, these guys have participated more than Eddie's guys have. Although, admittedly, we have gotten some value out of the piggies. But I think we'll use you to reinforce for now. And we may or may not move you depending, because we may need to keep you two together to... Well, actually, I was going to send you this way around to help out, so probably we'll send Gruul out that way. And in fact, if there's no military presence here, Gruul, you could risk the march stance, or the raiding, but frankly, you're probably not going to raid for much here anyway. I think I'm going to move you here. We still have to deliver you a bunch of stuff as well. Which is fine, mind you. Alright, there we go. Also, you are a menace, yes, so we'll put you into this army. More spell resistance for the Bloodletters. They're at 83, but I'd like to max it out so that they don't eat too many more spells. You. Summoning stance, probably not needed. I guess there's the lead belch. Oh, wow, you have some stone horns, nice. I wonder, will you get drawn in or are you just too far? I guess we're about to find out. Kill Scraggy. Like so. We're not gonna bother reinforcing with the other armies. Just because, you know, we only need Skarbrand here. Skarbrand is the only thing that you need. Bloodletting is... We're gonna need to get this back up. Slaaneshi Giggle. Good time for Coronate Giggle, go.
Today we raid brutal torment.
Alrighty, here we go. We've got Scrag the Slaughterer here. Let's see how well he and his ilk can slaughter their way through our Chaos Warriors. Or through Skarbrand, who has arrived, and Brag the Gutsman moves in to fight him. I don't think that hook flail of his is going to do all that much, but, well, and give it a try. Though I suppose while Skarbrand doesn't exactly have a gut plate, rather, the hook flail might actually be somewhat effective around the sort of chest armor / corset that somebody called it in the comments that he's got going. Anyway, enemy range units fire upon him, and he has pretty much defeated Brag the Gutsman at this point, who's down to 10% of his HP, plus the 2 or 3 units of Ogre Bulls that were on that side. Over on the right flank, the enemy's artillery piece, a scrap launcher, got mobbed by a bunch of flesh hounds, while Karanak has led the other flesh hounds to fight all of the enemy range units. And now the Chaos Warriors have arrived, and the enemy is anvil and hammered pretty well now. Though with Khorne, pretty much everything's a hammer. Alright, and it looks like Scrag has made his way into the main line now with his stone horn in tow. The once Brag the Gutsman has already fallen, so a bit too late for the legendary hero. The second enemy stone horn is currently being attacked by the Gorgon and, by the looks of it, the Jabberslate, though it looks like it's pretty much done for anyway. Alright, and the second stone horn is out. I don't know where Scraggy is in here, but he probably had a pretty bad time. Oh, he's just sad. He's taking a... yeah. He's just sleeping, guys. Yeah, he was pretty soundly defeated by Skarbrand, and with him, this battle, is done. Alright, there we go. Nice to fight some ogres. Scrag gets absolutely annihilated, unsurprisingly, without the help of our other army. Again, completely unsurprisingly. And with 2,000 skulls in reward, I think that it would be a good idea to take those. So, reap those captives. Also, 165 kills. Very solid work out of the Bloodhounds in particular. Yes, reap captives. Like so. Then, Thorgrim. Oh, casualty or punishment rate? That's nice. Oh, yay, miscast base chance reduction. Enemy winds of magic power is actually fine, so it takes longer to lose all the winds of magic. Then, you, Skarby, are gonna go from here to here. And then you guys will move on in to Leech. Here. Here, and similarly, we don't need your help against Thorgrim, but, well, no reason not to leech, right? Valea's Sorrow, you're about to be raised. Declare war. Wait, are you allied with anybody? Oh, they're fighting Clan Rictus and Vlad. Well, okay, Vlad's not surprising, considering Vlad took out basically all the mountains. And I guess we'll just declare war on you. And call our allies in case we get some missions out of this. Yes.
No.
Alright, I'm glad none of them said no. Would have been a shame. Anyway, Skarby, go to Valea's Sorrow, and honestly, it's kind of pathetic. I know it's Thorgrim, but he's rank 14 and will die in 2 hits, and I think it's just not worth our time. Oh! Huh. Why? I guess it's the game is thinking that the artillery will kill him all. Alright, fine, let's kill Thorgrim. Do it real quick, it's gonna take like 2 minutes.
This is what we live for. This is Khorne.
All right, I'm so thankful that Ooh, nice kick to the Dragon Slayer there. I'm so glad that Skarbrand has Vanguard deployment. It's really helpful in getting him into the fight quickly. Anyway, speaking of getting to the fight quickly, the units of Chaos Warriors of Khorne very much not, and we're keeping back all of our monstrous units until Skarby forces the bolt throwers into Rampage. We in fact deployed all of our big units directly behind the sort of limit of the range of the artillery so that they could not, you know, focus them down. Anyway, Skarby has arrived for the head of the High King. And that's a skull that will nicely adorn Khorne's brass citadel, methinks. Plus, we could probably keep the Great Book for some kind of trophy. Or maybe stuffs Thorgrim's eye sockets with ripped out pages or something. That might be entertaining. Anyway, speaking of Thorgrim, he's down about half HP. His Dragon Slayer will, who has been trying to interfere with the duel, will be taken on by Khorne's Bloody Fist, while our main line has arrived. Here come the monsters and the Chaos Warriors of Khorne alike. And we are at rank 7 now. Not quite maxed out in rank yet, but soon ready to be transferred to another army. And tactically, there isn't really much to say. It's blob tactics. Karanak has arrived with his flesh hounds smashing into the rear ranks of the dwarfs, but frankly, it probably wasn't even needed. Decent likelihood Skarbrand could have taken this entire army himself. That said, even though he could, it would have also taken quite a while. Though he does kill pretty fast. Speaking of killing, Thorgrim is down to about 30% of his HP. Those Jabber Slaves keep sort of bouncing around and are kind of in the way a little bit. But they're not staying in this army, so that's all good. We have a place for them. Odd as they may seem in this particular line, although their tattered wings look kind of similar to those of Skarbrand and, to a lesser degree, the other bloodthirsters. Much less tattered. Anyway, with that, by the looks of it, the enemy army is shattered, and only the Slayers and Slayer Pirates remain. And that not for long. I believe Thorgrim will have fallen shortly, if not all. Down he goes with the final blow delivered by Skarbrand. Not that he could escape because the prey of the Blood God was upon him. And we got 10 and 30 Slayer Pirates. Slayer Pirates are lasting a little bit longer in the melee than the regular Slayers are. But perhaps because we were actually focusing down the regular Slayers, and the Slayer Pirates who just died incidentally. And I think we are good. There's a couple more Slayers down in the blob there, but it's kind of hard to spot them, so there we are. A lovely little fight. And alright, there we go. Contrary to the auto-resolve being a psycho, obviously the enemy stood no chance there. Oh, one of the Jabber Slaves, 122 kills, pretty darn solid. 13k on one of the Chaos Warriors as well. Lovely. You will... Yeah, I'd love to raise a Blood Host, but it's just pointless by virtue of the fact that we'd have to just delete it, so it's just a waste of skulls at this point, because it'll, you know, waste our capacity. Although I suppose if we... Nah, just screw it, just raise it the regular old-fashioned way. Yeah, free research rate and construction cost. It's kind of interesting thing to have on Skarbrand. Oh wow, he's actually out of range of Black Crag. That's unfortunate, and we have no way to recover his movement range, I take it? Figure. We already used this, and we... Yeah, alright, fine. Skarby, I guess you're raiding Black Crag. At least until you reach it next turn, then we will most likely sack it and then have one of these guys occupied. Alright, you. At least we'll get a decent chunk of change from this. You guys will march this way and stay with Eddie so that you don't die. And ow! I... You go here. Eddie's already at max range, so I guess you two will try to protect each other. Hopefully you both don't die, but if it happens, it happens. That's, yeah, you live by the corn, you die by the corn. You know what I mean. Anyway, I believe that's all we had to do. I was kind of expecting Skarby to have more fights in this particular situation, but alas, not so much. You. Next turn, we'll need to make some deliveries. And thereby... I believe we will start... Oh, Death Gorge. You're... Yes, rank 5, or tier 5. Chaos Dreadhold, most definitely. Probably could have reduced it by 1,000 gold by giving you a Slaughter Master or a Slaughter Man. Damn it, alright, fine. It's not a lot, but at the same time, our money isn't as good as it once was. Alrighty, take that from Karanek. Then upgrade it. There you go. Alright, 1,200 gold back. EU, no, not you, EU. What do we have here? Seeker of Battle, upkeep production for demon units, powerful. We have Heralds, Pure Hatred, and Singe. Don't care for either one of those. I guess we'll use Bastion for now. Yeah, since none of the new lords need to be put up anywhere. Let's get you on field and we'll have you make some deliveries. I would love for you guys to make some deliveries as well, but alas, I fear that we need to keep you as you are right now. Yeah. Just until we deal with these guys. It is what it is. Alrighty, let's do whatever building remains, or whatever building we can afford, I should say. Dragon Isles, why are you losing so much? Oh, wow. -9. Yeah, I guess that's another reason we need to take to Dreadrock, because if the rebellion happens, yeah, the Khorne... Really? They're out corrupting us. Huh, okay, fine. I guess we know what Gilgast has to do then. Vulture Mountain, let's get that, whatever that was, arsenal. And why did I build an arsenal rather than a Jugger plant here? We need to research more than... Damn it. Do we undo it? Granted, we need more cultists, but at the same time, we also need a ton of research. Alright. Forgot why. And the Jugger plants should take priority over the arsenals, in theory. Wow, 5.5k for a single Juggerplex? Come on. Alrighty, let's go Dark Bastion here. We'll go for Trophy Rex. Line of the Dead. Did I forget something? Oh, we can upgrade Himri. Sure, go for it. Alright, Devil's Backbone, another Jugger plant, another Obsidian thingy, and another Jugger plant. Here we will go for the Infernal Citadel, to eventually get more Jugger plants. And maybe I just like saying Jugger plant. The Arsenal and Jugger plant, or Precursor, Skull Harvester. And I think that's about all we can afford. Much as I'd love to upgrade a Kassabar, it's too risky. It's too risky. You never know what happens with the ratings, so we'll just deal with that. Alright, now we can skip on by and end the turn. We'll occupy Flayed Rock, then we'll go down to Kugath Town, and I'll take him out. Hey, Kugath, I was just talking about you. Military alliance? No, buddy, no. And, They will indeed sally out. Well, I am pleasantly surprised by this. Well done to the Tzeentchans. The burning chariots are going to be a major issue here because we technically don't have area defenses. You know what, maybe I'll give the... I mean, I guess we... We'll see. Let's see how the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne can handle it. Either way, we're going in.
All of you who fail here will suffer his wrath. None will survive it.
Alrighty, here we go. None will survive it indeed. Let's see if we can actually survive the battle, because the enemies arrayed against us are a pretty solid counter to the type of army that we have. We have all that spell resistance, but not that much in the way of missile resistance. The enemy has 6, count 'em, 6 variants of flamers on field. An exalted flamer, a bunch of regular flamers, and those changebringers, plus a ton of exalted pink horrors that will dish out plenty of damage as we close the distance. In fact, our Regiment of Renown, the Bloodwake Berserkers, take 50% of their HP damage on the charge, forcing us to immediately pop up Blood Sacrifice to heal them and Wild Abandon to make sure that they cannot die. I suppose the lack of the melee defense also probably is not going to matter that much. Even Scar Bloodwrath himself loses about 30% of his HP on the charge, while we close the distance. Through fire and flame, hopefully we can, well, I mean, to be fair, we also use plenty of fire stuff ourselves, but anyway. There are other flamers all over the place, and we will try to chase them down with our Marauder Horsemen. And, ooh, these guys are going to get a volley into those Marauders of Khorne. Unfortunately, our Marauder Horsemen are fairly heavily armored at 77 sundered armor, wow. Ooh, and Warp Flame, minus 15 as well. Yeah, nonetheless, still heavily armored enough to continue their fight and at the very least keep the enemy flamers distracted, which are fairly bad in melee. Or, yeah. In the meantime, we are trying to knock the other burning chariot out of the sky. Oh, those aren't changebringers, they're burning chariots. But anyway, knock the burning chariots out of the sky, and it is not easy at all. Fortunately, they seem to want to move into melee eventually, or at least this one did, when we forced it into rampage. And this one moved in as well, perhaps realizing that it's getting focused down, but at the same time, most of our axes weren't landing. On the bright side, the enemy's main line has at this point, or at least the enemy's center, has collapsed. Over on the right flank, there are still a lot of enemy units fighting. The Chaos Spawn standing together with some Chaos Knights, so a lot of bigger mass units, and a lot more HP on them than the other demonic units. Ooh, Bloodwake Berserkers. Oh, wow, they run fast. We got 63 speed on them. Very nice. But yeah, everything in our army has taken severe damage now. Several of our units of Marauder Horsemen are severely beat up as well. But we got a couple units that have joined the fray as the cultists summon Bloodletters and Bloodthirsters. And there we go. It looks like with the addition of the other units and the final destruction of all of the enemy flamer units, the enemy no longer has a prayer. The enemy lord melts away, and only the unbreakable Chaos Spawn. Oh, there are 2 units of Chaos Spawn with the Chaos Knights there. And keep in mind, Tzeentch Spawn and SFO have 24 models per unit. So this was 48 spawn plus the Chaos Knights, which makes sense while it took a while, as to why it took so long to bring down this particular blob. Anyway, with that, the Chaos Spawn break, and we make sure to chase down the Chaos Knights as well, as they were the last unit. And being a mortal unit, we needed them destroyed in order to be able to sack or occupy or whatever we're gonna do. Alright, there we go, a close victory and certainly a lot of very dangerous units. The Burning Chariots, we weren't really able to hit them with the throwing axes. They kind of stagger in the air in such a way that the axes just, most of them don't land, which is kind of irritating, even with the enemy not actively trying to dodge them. The saving grace, of course, being that once the cultists got into Mala and stayed there for a minute, they were able to get bloodthirsters summoned, and at least one of them was able to take out the Burning Chariot, which was not forced into Rampage. Either way, a nice victory for these guys with the Oh, right, the Bloodwig Berserkers actually took an insane amount of damage, but fortunately, Wild Abandon makes them, you know, cannot die, and that's quite lovely. I feel that Major Rager's probably going to want a healing potion. We have been getting a lot of use out of that Rock of Inevitability, I will grant, but maybe we'll give it to somebody else. So, in that light, ooh, you have to think about this. If we sack it, we will, get a decent chunk of change. But we'll have to deal with it again. Nonetheless, though, it is a capital, so we probably will sack it. Alright, fine. We'll just have to waste next turn going back in, but it is what it is. I'd rather have the money rather than the favor, or rather than the skulls, at least for now. And I assume the Major Rager will still heal because we have healing in enemy territory. And, okay, what's with the, come on, stuttering slash lagging that the game is doing right now? Come on. It's just very, very slowly getting away. I mean, zooming out. Is it just gonna keep zooming out forever? What is this? Okay, there he goes. Alrighty, so what is this? Hello? Ah, yes. Grog Trolltooth Evolve is going to ascend to Demon Prince. That's why his name was Evolve. And Moxius Scion Slayer, you're new on the field, and I want to see something. Income from sacking settlements, another blood collector. Nice. Huh, Goldtooth is confederated. Warhost of Jar destroyed by Grimgory. Neat. 8 peaks secured, and skull harvesting for... oh, it's a tech, yes. Drawn to Destruction, Monolith of Bubonicus, and Valea's Sorrow. And there's the Demon Prince. Alrighty, so what I wanted to see was, do you have... ah, what do you have here? Disdainful. Oh, terrible game, terrible. What's the likelihood we ever actually encounter any Slaaneshi? It's disappointing. But that's just the nature of evolving to... you get a useless garbage trait, but whatever. At least it has post-battle loot, but again, this is terrible. What was I saying? Oh, right, I wanted to see whether we have this... ah, yes. We do have access to Malevolent Ranger and Doomfire on you, so maybe we use you to... well, no, we can't use you to lead the Pike and Shot army, because we'll want unflinching soldiers on them. Okay, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, Skarby, go to Black Crag, please. I will have to declare war on these guys who are currently allied with Creeping Death and Broken Axe. We could ask Angrandor Reikland to join war instead of going to war with these guys. Do we really care? Probably not. And Skarby, after all. Oh, also, before we move again, I assume we'll have missions. Yes, alright, so what do we have here? Zoya Merciless. Huh, Merciless? That's great. Except that I want to steal that for Khorne. Anyway, Marrow Muncher, no. Let's take... no. And no. I don't like any of these. I guess Marrow Muncher. Where's Kadri Redmane? He's all the way up to 8 peaks. Well, I mean, we will get him eventually, but he's fairly far. And you... okay, I guess we'll take Kadri Redmane. Alright, World Walkers. I was hoping for Zoya the Merciless for you as well. I guess we'll go for Gruk Roxburn for you. There's a camp, which is at least a guarantee. Now let's take Kadri Redmane again. I guess it'll be an excuse to march all the way up towards Karazakarak, assuming it doesn't fall to anybody else. Next, you Ghoulghast are... oh, right. I had forgotten about Mad's map, but I guess you are right where Kugath is, so it kind of works out. Minus the fact that we wanted Flayed Rock, but we were going to come back here anyway. Hopefully Kugath doesn't run. He shouldn't. 7 regiments of Renan and 2 soul grinders, and this is actually a very solid counter to the kind of army Ghoulghast has. Ooh, I like this. I like this a lot. Wait, I did take all the missions, didn't I? Yes. Do we have time for this? I don't know. What I do know is that I want to fight it, because it looks interesting to me. So, Exalted Hero of Khorne. Do we have any of those garbage weapons that give you magical damage left? No, none left. We really need more items. A free Obsidian Lodestone. Gambler's Armor for heroes. Tormentor Sword for the... yeah, no, Tormentor Sword's going on in the Pike and Shot army anyway. I guess you... oh, skill points. What do we have here? I think get We Are the Elite. Let's get We Are the Elite. Alrighty. Move up, buff up our units for when we're attacking, and we don't need freakish meat. Wait. Gore beasts. Yes, we do need freakish
Exalted of
mutations.
Khorne.
And we don't need Malevolent Ranger, though. You are otherwise good, right? We don't need Doomfire, we don't need Warpfire, and we don't need Savage Bloodlust in this particular army. We'll get to the Burning Brand of Khorne, get that reduction on the spell resistance. Unflinching Soldiers is unfortunately worthless here, so we'll go for Skullcrusher into Rampant Destroyer, and let's grab Brass Collar for the additional fire damage. Not that admittedly we have anybody doing fire damage other than you two. I mean, I suppose if we put a couple of banners of Eternal Flame on, for example, some of the Gorbeast chariots, or even on the Lords and Heroes, that might help out. Do we have any? I think we had one, right? Or was that not this campaign? Oh, it might have not been. No, we have a couple. It's not a fire army, but we could use it fiery. I was going to make a fire-specific army, but... I'll put them in this army for now. Why not?
Rewards for the mighty.
Feels like it makes sense against the Undead and against Nurgle, doesn't it? Right? Yes. Alrighty, let's go into Summoning Stance. And Kugath, you are currently at war with Goldtooth, Rictus, and Caravan of Blue Roses. I could get them to pay. They're almost willing to be vassalized, but that ain't happening. I mean, I think I'm just gonna straight up declare war. Declare war, like so. All allies to help. Lovely. Then, there's actually... yeah, free skull pile. Before we move in, there's one thing I want to check, though, in the circle. And that is whether that reduced the cost of fire glaives. Because of the proximity. Fire glaives are at... no, still 33. Okay, meaning we were getting proximity just fine from the other guys. World Walkers, we're waiting for 66, unless it changed. Now, still waiting for 66, and Harbinger of Disaster, we were waiting for 30-something, I believe. Oh, we could do the Bulgor right now. Just for fun. I'll do it, why not? Alrighty, anyway. You, no, not you. You. We will give the Banner of Eternal Flame to, I guess, you and... I mean, you can keep hold of that Banner of Hellfire. You can use it before the explosions, but since these guys are with you, we'll give it to one of them. Something like that. Alright, we'll put this on you. I sort of want them into sort of different portions of our army. Also, is this a field battle? Yes, indeed it is. That is a lot of great weapon ogres with a lot of anti-large. This should be a very interesting fight. Go. Alrighty, kill them all, or at least try, because the enemy army that stands before us is a direct counter to the type of army that we have. Pretty much piles of monsters, monstrous infantry, and lots of anti-large. Plus the artillery coming out of those two soul grinders, and Kugath himself. It's gonna be an interesting one. We'll see if we can try to pull it off. Ooh, some nice volleys into one of the... Khorne's horns, taking 25% of their HP and damage, while the rest of our units start moving at least towards closing the distance. Miasma of Pestilence and Plague of Nurgle hitting the Khorngors hard here, forcing them to lose 50% of their HP within seconds, and more than the AI is losing. But our Gorbeast chariots and our Bloodbeasts are making their way forward, and the Khorngors charge first, while the Bestigors advance behind them, so that hopefully the AI's artillery focuses other units first. We need the Bestigors to fight the units of Plague Ogre. So basically, the AI has deployed all of its Plague Ogre line, or big portion of it, over on the left flank and in the center, whereas the right flank was more infantry-based. Not that there's a lot of infantry in this particular army, so we charged the right flank with the Khorngors and kept the Bestigors in reserve to where we will head directly towards all those Plague Ogres. Alright, the center, being led by Lord Gulgast here, will have two Khorngors, will be joined by one unit of Bestigors to help out, as well as, obviously, the Gorbeast chariots that move with Gulgast all the time. Though moving is proving a little bit difficult, as the Curse of the Slug and the massive speed resistance that it causes has been something of an issue. Also keep in mind that the enemy has a bunch of regiments of renown here, including the Bilious Thunderguff, but it has so much HP, I guess just like Kugat, that it's going to be something of an issue. Now, we peeled away 2 of our units of Blood Beasts to smash into the enemy ranks, but are trying to get around where the battle is happening to try to move towards those darn Soul Grinders and Kugath himself. Skyla briefly charges in to annoy the enemy and pop off the Banner of Hellfire on them, and do a little bit of morale shock with his rear charge, but is now heading directly towards the Soul Grinders and towards Kugath himself. He'll start by charging the Soul Grinders. I figure since the Soul Grinders have significantly less HP and just tankiness than Kugath does, it's better to take one of these guys out first. Or maybe both, before moving on to Big Boy here. Plus Kugath is going to be... oh wow, he's going to be 24,000 HP and all that regen. And he'll be keeping on casting as well. The enemy's cultists have also opened the Greater Gate of Nurgle, summoning 1 or 2 great unclean ones on the battlefield. Although fortunately this one has been brought down, or will be brought down in short order. Unfortunately, our Khorne Gors, 3 of them, are down to, what, 10% of their HP and are breaking. One of the Blood Beasts and one of the Gore Beast Chariots are looking to be routing as well, actually 2 of each. And even our Exalted Hero, who on that chariot is going to be much more vulnerable to being attacked by a giant like the Bilious Thunderguff, has lost about 80% of his HP and is going to have to be backing off, routing. Withdrawing, that's the one. Looks like at long last, the Great Unclean One is brought down. There we go. But the enemy does still have Uncle Furuncle, the Regiment of Renown, and we'll still have to deal with him. In the meantime, Skyla has lost about 10% of his HP, but has nearly knocked out the first of the Soul Grinders while being attacked by Uncle Furuncle. And I don't know what that was. Curse of the Leper, okay. Probably not going to help against Skyla, or at the very least, it's a little bit too late on that. Down goes Soul Grinder 1. Bounce power remains in the enemy's favor at about 60%. I mean, it did say valiant defeat from the start, and our units remain pretty darn severely damaged, with a bunch of them having backed off. And this is going to be very close. We're going to have to move our Chaos Lord of Khorne, Gulgast, in to fight in melee against the Soul Grinder. Fortunately, the Lords on the chariots are still fairly decent fighters. And I think the Soul Grinder of Nurgle is fragile enough so that Gulgast can take it out. His attack is a little bit low, but obviously we haven't invested in his personal fighty tree, so he doesn't have the bonus damage on him. Skyla, in the meantime, will move towards Kugath and will tear through his HP, forcing him to lose about 30%. Kugath summons some infested Nurglings, but that actually would help us out if we can cause an explosion around Skyla, and to shed a little bit of extra damage to them. We'll activate his abilities thanks to entity depths. Alrighty, and the balance power remains in the enemy's favor. Several of our units have come back, but several more have routed. Everybody's at 20% HP, and the blob of Beasts of Nurgle and all of the, I don't know, 3 or 4 units of Ogres that are still in the fight here are, well, very much still in the fight. And dishing out the damage and killing many of the Blood Beasts, which are going to have to back off together with the Chariots and the Exalted Hero. On the bright side, 2 or 3 of the enemy units of Plague Ogres have been defeated by the Bestigors, which seem to have worked in being superior to them, and will now be chased down and destroyed, hopefully, by our severely damaged chariots. Kugath falls at last, but Uncle Furuncle and his 15k HP still remain, and of course the Bilious Thunderguff, damn those regiments of renown, while Skyla and our Lord continue to work on them. Balance of power now about 50% in our favor, but I think this main line is going to fail as, yep, there we go, a chain rout, as one of the units of Khorne Gors gets routed and one gets terrified away. And our Gore Beasts are, one of them by the looks of it shatters and the other one routs away. Well, by the looks of it, 1 unit of chariots is still in the fight, the 2 units of chariots that are chasing the units that broke, and now it's Skyla and Gulgast by themselves facing off against the 2 regiments of renowned big boys, and against the Plague Ogres. Definitely iffy now, though the balance of power remains at 50%. Can these 2 handle those 2 is the question. Should we win it, this will be the third legendary skull we acquire this episode, as well as we've gotten Scrags and Thorgrims, and now Kugats. Though I don't know if we can keep some kind of trophy. Well, I mean, in the warp maybe, or in the realm of souls, realm of chaos. Anyway, it looks like Uncle for Uncle has dropped at last, as he was the one we were focusing. Still, the Bilious Thunderguff remains. More Plague Ogres have rallied, and it looks like some Festering Stooges have moved on in, getting healed up by Fecundity as well. And they have 20,000 HP, plus the Beasts of Nurgle that helped break our main line. Though it does look like at least a few of our units are now returning to the fray. Still have to destroy those Festering Stooges, as their range weapons do quite a bit of damage. Skyla has unfortunately dropped down to 30% of his HP now, and Gulgast is down to 50%. It is down to the wire, people. It does look like by virtue of the chariots coming in, the Festering Stooges turn towards them and the Bestigors. And we will charge on in, prevent them from firing any more range attacks. And it looks like the Bilious Thunderguff breaks with 20% of his HP, and the demonic units are the only things that remain. Time to work on those darn Beasts of Nurgle now, as Skyla and Gulgast, fighting back-to-back, manage to bring down all the enemy single entities, and one last charge into the last remaining unit on the battlefield. These Festering Stooges will carry the day for us, if just barely so. But this is exactly the kind of fight that Khorne wants, and I think he'll be pretty proud of Gulgast and Skyla's accomplishments. I mean, I guess it's technically Skyla's army because he's a legendary hero and all that, but yeah, a very, very close fight. Less than half of our army didn't rout, and most of them were down to 10% of their HP. A Pyrrhic victory, absolutely magnificently earned. Ooh, there we go. What a magnificent fight. This is the kind of fight you play the game for, and this is exactly why I love the sort of themed armies rather than the generalist armies, because here we come up against an army that was the counter to our army, with all of those anti-large monstrous infantry and monsters generally making up the entirety of the enemy host, with basically no infantry, so we couldn't leverage our Gorby's Chariot's ability to obliterate infantry piles, and the fragility of the Blood Beasts meant that they couldn't really fight on par with the Plague Ogres, with great weapons, plus the Soul Grinders and Kugat doing massive amounts of damage and countering our hordes of Khorngors and Bestigors. Absolutely fantastic. I love the rock, paper, scissors thing that allows us to, that is generally found when we play the themed armies like this. Ah, what a great fight. Anyway, I think we will sack it just for the healing and then occupy it. The reason that we'll want to occupy, okay, sack it first. Growth and horde growth, yay. Anyway, well, at least the chance of plague spreading faction wide isn't too bad. Yeah, we'll want to occupy this specifically for auto resolve and occupy for the purpose of A, healing out of it, and B, using it as a launch point, as a port, so that we can immediately go to Dreadrock, hopefully before these places rebel. Hit Dreadrock, and then we'll go back up northward to both finish off the Astrogrul, where are you going? Both finish off the Caravan of Blue Roses and head north to Goldtooth because we want that gold mine. Anyway, with that, we are obviously very, very much out of time, but absolutely worth it to fight that magnificent fight. And, well, hopefully more magnificent fights to come as we turn on the dwarfs and the orcs and the ogres and basically whatever else we come into contact with. Lots of battle variety in this campaign. Oh. Are we still not able to trade this? One second. Serpent Coast.
About what yous want to say to me?
Portalaqua. Oh, now you're willing. Yes, we'll do this. And give us all your money. And you can keep fighting the elves. It doesn't really matter because we'll kill you eventually anyway. Yes, do this. Serpent Coast for Talaqua. To double check, those are the right buildings. They are. Then we can actually get some money back by canceling this since we no longer need it. Lovely. Kalakwa,
I can
or
help
Serpent
him
Coast.
if I were you.
Money. Thank you.
I'll do it.
Alrighty, and we'll have to rebuild the place, but it is what it is. Blood tributes, please. Anyway, like I said, with that, I'm out of time, or we're out of time. We're gonna call it here. Next time, more corny stuff. So stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes in the comments below, as they will determine how long the campaign continues to run for. All glory to the algorithm. Ooh, delivery to be made. And thanks for watching.
God.